It's day 4 of the Diddy trial, and a lot of celebrity names are being brought up, from Kid Cudi, Britney Spears, Dallas Austin, Michael B. Jordan. Not only that, we have to talk about the fact that Aubrey O'Day is set to testify, according to Us Weekly.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. And if you missed it, we've been posting day after day since Monday. Every single day, we'll be giving you a summary in regards to what is happening in this Diddy trial. And right now, Cassie Ventura is testifying. She's now being grilled by Diddy's legal team. And we already told you what we expected in regards to their approach. They want to make sure that the world and the jurors know that these freak-offs were consensual. Right now, in today, day 4 of this cross-examination, well, the first day of the cross-examination, but day 4 of the trial, what they're trying to pick at is that you liked this situation. You loved Diddy. Diddy wasn't actually a good guy. He wasn't always a bad guy. You both cheated on each other. So we're going to talk about that. But first, we have breaking news that Aubrey O'Day, formerly of Danity Kane, who has been very vocal about her dislike for Diddy for many years, is set to testify. This is not official, but according to sources, Aubrey O'Day is set to testify. Aubrey recently came to New York, and she posted about this on her social media. Us Weekly writes this in their exclusive. Former Danity Kane star Aubrey O'Day is set to testify in the Sean Diddy Combs high-profile trial. Us Weekly can exclusively confirm. A source confirmed to us that O'Day, who's 41, was subpoenaed and has traveled to New York City to testify, quote, sometime this week or next. Probably next week, because they're not even sure if Cassie will be done testifying this week in this cross-examination. They're thinking maybe this will go on to Monday. The prosecution would like for Cassie to be able to finish this week because she is very pregnant and she could give birth this weekend. So a source confirmed this information to Us Weekly. As you already know, this trial started on May 5th with the jury selection. The actual testimony started this week. They said in a quote from an insider, "It's nerve-wracking, but she's ready. She's not going to back down. She wants justice for everyone," the insider said, hinting that O'Day has a project in the works that will be about the Diddy trial. Aubrey shared details from her travels to New York City via Instagram on Wednesday, May 14th. Saying, "Hey, New York, where y'all think I should head first?" O'Day captioned a video adding a weighing scale emoji, which is traditionally used as a symbol for justice and fairness in the legal system. O'Day crossed paths with Diddy, as you know, after appearing on MTV's Making of the Band in 2005, 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, we are old. By the grace of God, right? Making of the Band 3 in 2005, she became a breakout star and was eventually chosen to be a member of the group Danity Kane, who was signed to Diddy's Bad Boy Records alongside Dawn Richard and Shannon Bex. It makes me wonder if Dawn Richard will be testifying. As you know, she's suing Diddy civilly. Diddy revealed during the Making of the Band 4 finale in 2008 that O'Day had been kicked out of the group. O'Day has been outspoken about her past experiences with Diddy over the years. More recently, she spoke about the big shift in her life since allegations against Diddy started to go public. And if you watch the Max documentary where D. Woods was involved, she actually told a story about Diddy trying to get with Aubrey, which I thought was kind of weird. And I don't know the relationship between D. Woods and Aubrey today for her to share such a personal story that should have come from Aubrey. But again, maybe she got permission to share that, because Aubrey has alluded to issues and things that she would like to talk about when it comes to Diddy, but she has not said a word about it. She hasn't written a book. She hasn't done a show yet. But maybe she was waiting for this moment to actually talk about it in the trial. So more than likely, we probably will see Aubrey O'Day on the stand in the Diddy trial next week. A lot of people are saying they started off strong. The prosecution started off strong with Cassie. But buckle up, they might have a lot more in their arsenal. All right, so that is the breaking news. I want to kind of move forward from there in regards to what's happening today on the stand. As I've mentioned before in other videos, there are quite a few celebrities that are mentioned in this trial, from Cassie, from Kid Cudi to Dallas Austin. Britney Spears was mentioned today, just because they were in these circles. Not that they did anything specifically, but they were in these circles. They were at these events. So let me just give you, shout out to our friends. As always, what we do over here is cite our sources for day 4 of the Kempire's summary of the Diddy trial. And at this particular point of the recording, they're almost done for the day. I thought I could at least get this started because there's a lot to cover. I've got my water. I hope you've gotten yours as well. Stay hydrated. And I probably would keep my fourth wall in, especially on doing the dailies of this, recording and then editing this. I'm not going to do a lot of editing. I just try to get rid of just nonsensical ums and that kind of thing if I can. But some of that's going to be left in too. So bear with me. This is live. You know, we normally would clean cut, do all this stuff, but I'm trying to get a lot of information in that's happening throughout a full day on a daily basis to you guys. So I apologize in advance for those that might be new here and getting your news from me. Okay, so let me go through this. And again, not only do I utilize NBC News, throughout the day, I am following Inner City Press on social media, some other amazing journalists that are covering and talking about this story. I'm listening to Law and Crime to hear different perspectives. So I'm getting a full knowledge. So I will be adding my thoughts and opinions throughout. I saw Piers Morgan just did an interview with someone that alleges that Diddy is into trafficking and things like that. He claims that people have tried to take his life. So that was an interview that I listened to earlier in regards to Piers Morgan. Do I think that anything damning was said in that interview with this man who is going into hiding? He says, after this interview, I'm going into hiding. They try to prevent me from doing this interview. He says people have tried to poison him before. And he's in the business of saving people from trafficking. Nothing necessarily new, I feel, came out of that interview, if I recall, but I'm going to go listen to it again. It was like a 25-minute interview on Piers Morgan's Uncensored YouTube channel. All right, so let me get back to the Diddy trial. So this is where we'll talk about it. First of all, NBC News, before the trial started today, pointed out the amount of allegations that have come against Sean Combs has harmed his reputation, and multiple brands had ended up dropping him. They said at least 18 brands and organizations have already cut ties with Sean Diddy Combs since the allegations against him went public. I wonder if are there any brands currently still working with him? That is the question. Like, okay, it's all well and good. What are the brands that are still working with Diddy? Like, who's handling the day-to-day when it comes to Bad Boy? And I know you're thinking, there are people signed to Bad Boy? Technically, there are. Isn't Machine Gun Kelly signed to that? Isn't Janelle Monáe record label in conjunction, her own record label in conjunction with Bad Boy still? I don't know. I haven't been up to date in regards to that. So they said at least 18 brands and organizations have already cut ties with Sean Diddy Combs. We took the key of New York back from him and we gave it to Mayor Eric Adams. Okay. Since the allegations against him went public, before a verdict in his case has been reached, Molly McPherson, a reputation and crisis strategist, spoke with NBC News' Gadi Schwartz about the possibility of Sean's reputation being repaired depending on the outcome of the trial. So they posted a video with that interview. Let's take a listen.
And while Diddy's trial continues, so does the brand fallout. At least 18 brands, organizations have all cut ties with the music.
And all the brands that they have highlighted here, from DeLeon Tequila, you remember the Harlem Charter School that he was involved in, Ciroc, Howard University, Revolt, Peloton, Macy's, because remember he had a Sean John brand with them. They immediately cut ties with him.
Since the news of these serious allegations went public, and these right here, these are just some of them. It shows a pretty big shift.
I didn't even know he had.
Brands aren't waiting for.
I didn't even know he had a partnership with Peloton.
Verdict anymore, and it raises the questions: can Diddy ever bounce back from this, regardless of the outcome here? So here to help us answer that question is reputation and crisis strategist Molly McPherson. Molly, good to see you. Thanks so much for being with us. Is there any coming back from this for Diddy?
It's very difficult because P. Diddy, Sean Combs, whatever the name is now, a liability. It's going to hurt any brand that affiliates with Diddy right now.
And here's the other aspect of that. Yes, even if he was to get off in regards to these charges, what he's admitted in this trial is DV, domestic violence. He has admitted to that. There's footage of that. That alone should be something that brands do not want to work with in the future.
And in the future.
And I mean, Bad Boy Records, like, he's got a lot of other brands. He's brought a lot of people up in this industry. Are they all tainted by his name as well now?
Yes, it's interesting when you look back when Sean Combs really became big. I mean, he embodied his brand, Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records. It's all about the artist representing that energy, that, you know, that edgy energy. But now that type of energy and branding is really crucifying him in terms of public perception. From a brand perspective, a business perspective, that's the type of currency they no longer want. I mean, that name is a tainted, toxic name for good. So this is not a name I don't think is going to come back anytime.
And mind you, remember, there was a period of time where Diddy was trying to sell off, well, not sell off, he was giving back the artists. Remember, he was giving back, Aubrey talked about this, he was giving back their royalties and things like that. And at this particular point, Aubrey says she wasn't taking it back. She's like, at this particular point with streaming, it's not worth anything. You should have given it to us when it was worth something. But maybe he knew that this was looming, and this is why he was trying to just give it back to them and make them sign NDAs where they wouldn't say anything bad about him or his mama.
From a positive perspective.
And there are other names that we're hearing that could come up in court. What could even the mention of their name in this type of trial, beyond some of the names that we've heard so far, Kid Cudi being one of them, what could any name that's brought into this trial suffer in terms of repercussions here?
Yeah, there are plenty of people who have attended Sean Combs parties in the past that are probably worried that they're going to be brought into this. This case, even though legally the outcome is still pending, the court of public opinion moves a lot faster than the legal system. Any name that's associated with this trial, even if it's someone that was just simply at an event, they're going to be thrown into the algorithm. They're going to be thrown into that digital conversation. And that's when you don't want your name. You don't want to be in the Wikipedia annals of this case. So there's a lot of people probably sweating it right now.
Wow.
And I wanted to get your take, because you've seen a lot of these high-profile cases, and it is interesting to see this one that is not televised, at least. We're not seeing the images come out, with the exception of these pictures that come out every single day, these drawings. How do you think that's going? Do you think that's kind of tamped things down publicly, or is there just no putting the genie back in the box when it comes to these types of high-profile cases?
Yeah, you know, there is that distinction between when you see an artist sketch versus live coverage 24/7. I mean, even comparing it to a Karen Reed trial. I mean, someone who's not a celebrity, but people get wrapped up in the court process. So certainly this is favoring Combs just to be in an artist sketch. So I think there are...
But also not necessarily just favoring Sean Diddy Combs. The judge probably prefers that because it probably, they feel, will allow this process to be 100% fair. That way you can also avoid a mistrial. I mean, one element of helping to prevent something like that.
People who are probably more wrapped in it on an hour-by-hour basis. However, online, conversation, news stories, people do want to know the outcome. And it's not just for Combs, it's who Combs brings into the mess and possibly bring down with him in the case of a guilty verdict.
Molly McPherson, thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly. All right, so let me give you the breakdown of some other things that have been happening today when it comes to this Diddy trial. So shout out to our friends over at NBC News. They write this. They said, jurors spent all of Wednesday, as you know, hearing the troubling details of Combs' relationship with Cassie Ventura, which included incidents of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse. When the AUSA attorney Emily Johnson asked Ventura why she put herself through this grueling process, the witness said that she owed it to herself. I can't carry this anymore. The shame, the guilt, what is right and what's wrong is wrong. People aren't disposable, she said. In the Sean Diddy Combs trial, social media is flooded with thousands of opinions from people following the proceedings, with a heavy focus on the testimony of Cassie Ventura. So, the U.S. District Court Judge Aaron Subramanian hopes to have proceedings start at 9:30 today, in what figures to be a long day of the defense cross-examining key government witness Cassie Ventura. Combs' defense has already conceded that the rap mogul has had a bad temper and has been violent under the influence of drugs or alcohol, but his attorneys will still want to put a dent in Ventura's lengthy testimony about years of abuse she suffered while dating Combs. And that's what they've been doing all day. That's the thing. And in our opinion of hearing transcripts or things that people are in the room hearing, it's going to be a little bit different versus being in the room and seeing the body language, seeing the jurors' reaction to what they're seeing and hearing. Mind you, the jurors are going to see some stills and freak off tapes, and they're going to see a lot. You also may recall that the judge originally was considering whether or not they were going to show this in open court. They've come up with different compromises in regards to how they're going to do that. Hopefully, NBC News mentions some of that here. So they said Cassie Ventura, R&B singer and Diddy's former partner, is set to undergo cross-examination today. She has already delivered 2 days of emotional testimony, alleging that Combs subjected her to years of physical abuse, sexual coercion, and manipulation through threats and surveillance. Cross-examination of a complaint in a case involving SA and DV is always a challenge for defense attorneys, but the defense must carefully attack Ventura's credibility and the consistency of her accounts when they begin their cross-examination. And they have a very tricky situation here, because not only is she a victim, but she's also a very pregnant, 8-month pregnancy right now, pregnant woman on the stand. So they can't come across like they are attacking her. You can expect a defense, and this is part of the reason why Diddy's attorneys wanted Cassie to come into the court and be seated at the stand before jurors came in. They didn't want to see that. They didn't want the jurors to see that she was pregnant. So they said you can expect defense attorneys to explore whether the drugs she took at these freak-offs have affected her memory. So that's the other aspect of this. They're saying, can you even recall what really happened? They will also question her financial motives, although the government elicited testimony yesterday that Cassie had already received her $20 million settlement from Combs in the civil case. Ultimately, in every case alleging intimate partner violence, there's a chance that one or more jurors might not find the alleged victim credible. Jurors inherently use their own experiences as a reference point, and the thing about Diddy and Ventura's lifestyle is this: they were not everyday experiences. The jurors could have trouble relating to Ventura or Combs for that matter. Something to think about. This is why I keep telling you guys, this is not as black and white as it is to us when it comes to just laymen's. However, in the court of law and what the jurors have to do and the guidelines that they are given, they have to follow those guidelines in their determination. Did he commit these crimes? And the crimes are not DV. The vigorous fight over text messages, NBC writes. This is a cordial relationship between prosecutors and defense attorneys during pretrial hearings is quickly evaporating. Understandably. Okay, they're on different sides of the teams here. Courtroom tension dramatically increased this morning during arguments outside the presence of jurors over which text messages the defense can introduce to show Ventura's relationship with other men. The Combs-Ventura relationship was one that took place over text messages. They text about everything, defense lawyer Mark Agnifilo said. And so I guess that's his justification to say, no, we need to include everything. The defense wants to show that Ventura was a willing participant in this relationship and might have been involved with others. A large part of the defense is the infidelity on both sides and the fact that Mr. Combs understood that Ms. Ventura was having other relationships with other men. Defense lawyer Anna Estavo, who will lead the cross-examination, told the judge outside the ears of jurors. Prosecutors said that they hope to have the 8 months pregnant Ventura off the stand as soon as possible. They did not want this to go into next week because they believe that she could give birth over the weekend. I think it's somewhat practical, but at the same time, they don't want They don't want this to be extended to the point where she might say or do something that might hurt the case or deem Cassie not as credible. So prosecutors said that they hope to have the 8 months pregnant Ventura off the stand as soon as possible. This witness is very pregnant, said lead prosecutor Maureen Comey. We are afraid that she could have the baby over the weekend. We want her off the stand before the weekend. They said that Combs' former partner and key government witness took the witness stand for her third day of testimony. In the opening moments of cross-examination, Ventura answered most questions with a simple yes or no responses about their relationship of 11 years. So what else? I guess it wasn't just 10 years. It was like 11. Okay. That's a long time to be in this toxicity. No matter if you agree on what side, it was a toxic relationship. The witness is wearing a light colored blouse with a coat. So as the cross-examination begins, Sean Combs' attorney asks Cassie Ventura to confirm if she knew the real Sean Combs. She says yes. The Sean other people didn't see, Agnifilo said. Correct, Cassie responds. The defense appears to hope it can blunt some of the horrific details of Combs' abuse of Cassie Ventura with evidence their relationship had better days. So they want to show the relationship wasn't all bad. Does that negate the terrible times, though? That this is where I kind of question Sean Diddy Combs' lawyer's defense. Like, does that? Yes, you could have a lot of people that are in abusive relationships could have good times. Doesn't mean that it was a toxic, terrible relationship that she needed to get out of. So according to a message where it says, "I love you so much, it makes me cry," which was sent on August 12, 2009 to Ventura, known as Baby Girl, on her BlackBerry. Then on April 4th, 2010, Combs said his relationship with Ventura meant everything to him. "Love my baby. I love you so much. It consumes my life. How did it happen?" Combs wrote in an email. Ventura responded, "I wonder the same thing, who I was before we decided to be together." Okay. When asked by Combs' attorney why she wanted to spend so much time with Combs, Cassie Ventura replied, "Because I fell in love with him. He was charismatic, big personality, larger than life," she said. "The beginning of our relationship was really fast-paced, scary. But the more I spent with him, his real personality came out. Sweet, attentive." Ventura also acknowledged that at the beginning of their relationship, the pair was reluctant to be public about their romance because no one really knew who he was necessarily with at the time. At one moment, we thought that he was with Kim Porter. Then we was like, okay, is it over with him and Kim Porter? But then Kim Porter ended up pregnant. And we were like, what? I don't know about anyone else. I remember that time. And I was just sort of like, she's pregnant? I didn't know they were back together. But okay. In continuation, Ventura testified that she wanted to please Combs at the start of their relationship. So she agreed to take part in his freak-offs, drug-fueled intercourse, often with sex workers, as the rapper watched. "Yes, at the time, I wanted to make him happy," she said. Combs' lawyers then produced a series of texts and emails in which Ventura discusses the freak-offs, including one where she writes, "I am always ready to freak off," laughing out loud. But when the defense again asked if she wanted to make him happy by participating in the freak-offs, she clarified, no, it was a lot more than that. Even though Combs had 6 children at the time of their relationship, Ventura admitted in emails of the time she wanted to have a child with him. Luckily, she never did. Can you imagine? Luckily, she never did. Judge Aaron Subramanian just abruptly called for the court to go into a 10-minute recess after Cassie Ventura could be seen whispering to him. The sudden recess came just as Combs' attorneys were showing the court explicit emails and texts between her and Combs from 2009. Also, she's very pregnant. Can you imagine? Like, she probably got to go to the bathroom. She's probably uncomfortable. The baby's probably moving. An extremely graphic message from Ventura to Combs drew an objection from prosecutors, which the judge sustained. The emails and texts appear to be an effort on behalf of Combs' attorneys to undermine Ventura's repeated claims that she did not want to participate in the freak-offs. Again, I just have to remind you, this is a 22-year-old woman that's being introduced to this lifestyle that he so desperately wanted. There was also a level of manipulation. There was also a level of her wanting to please him. Sean Combs is seen in the sketch taking notes during the morning arguments in his trafficking trial in New York City. So I'm looking at the sketch that they did. So he's taking his own notes, I guess, to later relate to his attorneys. Like, we need to delve more into this, or she's lying about this, or who knows. The defense, in its ongoing effort to paint Cassie Ventura's relationship with Combs as consensual, has spent the morning presenting the witness with endless emails and text messages that the couple exchanged about their sex life. The missives have been detailed and graphic. One says, "I'm so horny," Combs wrote in one of the tamer messages, with Ventura responding, "OMG, I was just about to text you the same thing." Or when Combs said, "I can't wait for one of their freak-offs," Ventura shot back, "I can't wait either." Okay. I'm just going to leave that open to interpretation because I already know you guys in the comment section are going to be like, see, here's the thing. Again, abusive relationships. I'm sure there's plenty of abusive relationships. Look, the Tina and the Ike of it all. I'm sure there were sweet moments in that relationship as well. Does not change the fact that it was a toxic, abusive relationship. All right. Okay. So the defense asked Cassie Ventura if she deleted the videos, the freak off videos of that she had of Combs on her devices, which she confirmed. Okay. Then they showed an email exchange between Combs and Ventura in August of 2009, confirming what appears to suggest the existence of videos and the pair's illicit drug use. Ventura emailed Combs, "Do you have any pills on you?" Combs replied, "I'm going to do it again." Ventura responded, "I just deleted the video off my camera and it was so dope." Cassie Ventura told Combs in 2009 email that having freak-offs was the next step in their relationship. But she also mentioned that she went back and forth about the idea and needed to trust him more to be sexually free. In a quote, "In order for me to be more open with the things we do in bed, I need to feel safe, like home, like this is my husband, and this is the only man that will ever have this aggressive sexual side of me," she wrote in an email to Combs. "When we used to freak off, when we were so in love, there were no questions asked. It felt right, like it literally made sense for the next step in our sex life together." When asked by the defense if freak-offs were an important part of her relationship with Combs, Ventura responded, "It was an integral part." The defense is asking Cassie Ventura about her initial success in the music and modeling industry and what appears to be an effort to paint her as being independently rich and famous and not under Combs' control. Well, literally, she had one hit single, and then all of a sudden she was now associated with Bad Boy Entertainment. So he was really at the very beginning. She had that hit single, and then she must have signed that deal with Diddy. Ventura was asked to confirm that she was becoming a wealthy celebrity with a thriving music and modeling career on her own before she began dating Combs, her then boss. She acknowledged that she was, quote, "doing well" during that time. But if we know the music industry, one hit single at the very beginning of your career did not make you a rich person, especially not in today's market. His attorney asked her, "You were an up-and-coming star?" Ventura replied, "I guess you could say that." Cassie Ventura testified that she was dating rapper and producer Ryan Leslie when she met Combs. When Ventura signed with Bad Boy Records in 2006, she was platonic with label boss Combs and dating Leslie, the witness said. Ventura was about 3 years into her relationship with Ryan Leslie when she went to Miami to see Combs, leading to the first time that she and defendant had intercourse, the witness admitted under cross-examination. And before y'all start judging her, she was 21 years old. Just saying, not making, first of all, 3 years into the relationship, and I believe there's a 10-year age difference between her and Ryan Leslie. Okay. She confirmed that a flyer was made to advertise a club appearance she was making to give the impression of a professional reason to travel to Miami, which we found out it wasn't true. Again, 20-something-year-old getting into trouble? What were you doing when you were 20? Okay, I wasn't doing that. But you get what I'm saying. I'm giving grace here because I know stories. I know people. I have friends. I know what y'all were doing. So she confirmed that the flyer was made to advertise a club appearance she was making to give the impression of a professional reason to travel to Miami so as to not make Leslie suspicious. So Cassie Ventura testified that she understood how filing her 2023 lawsuit accusing Combs of rape and SA could ruin his career. Asked by defense lawyers what happened to Combs' career after she filed, Ventura responded, "That's a lot." Prosecutors objected to that question. Defense lawyers then rephrased, asking if she understood how the publicity surrounding the lawsuit ruined his career. Ventura responded, "I can understand that." The defense asked Cassie Ventura to confirm that Combs both built up and knocked down her confidence, citing text messages between the pair. Ventura agreed, also acknowledging that Combs called her a queen. Words were helpful, she said. He got that inspiring energy inside of him. And we've seen it. Other artists, other people that have been around Diddy will talk about that. This is why he was the main guy to go to party with, because he was like a great hype man. Combs needed to be constantly updated about Cassie Ventura's whereabouts, perhaps concerned that she was stepping out on their relationship, the witness said. When asked what would trigger a spike in telephone calls from Combs, Ventura said it could be for any number of reasons. Could be anything from not telling him where I was, angry about me, could be anything. Maybe he assumed I was cheating, she said. I don't know. Also, I don't know if he knew the relationship between Ryan Leslie and her, and she's flying down, being with him, and now you slept with him. Now he's probably always thinking, oh, she did that to Ryan, she'll do that to me. Possibly. Not to say that Diddy was innocent either, because she also testified that he was with many other women, her thinking that she was the only one, but he was with other women. When asked if she believed the volume of calls spiked when Combs theorized Ventura was cheating, she said yes. Cassie Ventura alleged during testimony that while Combs was a wealthy businessman and record executive, he was doing so under the influence of drugs. He needed to recover, Ventura told the courtroom, referring to Combs' alleged drug abuse. Ventura also accused Combs of also using ecstasy and cocaine. Asked whether she thought Combs was a drug addict, Ventura responded, I would say he was an addict. She answered yes when defense attorneys asked if Combs would become angry or volatile during withdrawals. I'm not a doctor. Coming off of certain pills, he would be pretty irritated, Ventura testified. And allegedly, they said when he was arrested, they found some of that pink powder in his hotel room. And my thing is, if he was this addicted to drugs, I can't even imagine that he had stopped. Okay. U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian called for a lunchtime recess and asked jurors to return to the courtroom at 1 p.m. Eastern. The judge told the lawyers he wasn't happy with the pace of Ventura's examination. Because he wants the 8 months pregnant woman to be done sooner rather than later. When the defense said that they would need all day today and all day tomorrow, the judge angrily responded, that is the exact opposite of what I was told. Damn. This judge means business. Because remember, he had told Garagos that what you said on your podcast is inappropriate. And he said, you have a new listener. I was like, damn, this judge does not play. The witness needed to be off the stand by the end of the week. So what happened? The clearly perturbed judge said. So he agrees with the prosecution that he would like Cassie to be done by tomorrow. So they're going to have to really get to it this week between now and tomorrow. So the opening hours of Cassie Ventura's cross-examination were a bit of a slog, with the defense questioning, jumping around in subject and timeline, and frequently interrupted by prosecution's objections. Those starts and stops appeared to hinder Combs' lawyer, Anna Estavo, from smoothly making the defense's case that Ventura was often a willing participant in the witness's seemingly abusive relationship with the defendant. and Ventura appeared to have caught on to the defense line of questioning. She often interjected qualifying terms such as "at the time" to frame her relationship with Combs as a complicated one that could toggle between caring and violent. So they, of course, prepared Cassie for this as well. All right. So they do also show photos that Justin Combs, Quincy, and King Combs also leave the courthouse. Janice Combs was also there as well. The thing that I mentioned on Twitter in regards to this is the fact that we have not seen the twins or Chance, his daughters, at the courthouse the last couple of days. And part of me was sort of like, was this because so many people have been saying, why are you allowing your daughters to hear some of this very explicit freak off events and things like that? Like, we understand the boys are older, but these are 18 and 19-year-old girls. To be honest with you, I wouldn't want my mother, I wouldn't want children to hear any of this stuff. Okay. However, I noticed that the last couple of days we have not seen the twins and Chance. Law and Crime mentioned the fact that the twins were preparing for prom and graduation and things like that. So that could be part of the reason, but now we don't see anyone else there. I also saw that Misa, through her attorneys, Misa Hilton, through her attorney, said the only reason why she went, I don't believe she's been there since day one. The only reason why she went was to be there as a support for her son, Justin, and for the other children. Okay. All right, so let's get back into this. The judge appears to still be agitated from the back and forth he had with Combs' attorney prior to the break. His agitation stems from the speed in which the defense is questioning Cassie Ventura. The judge sternly reminded the defense that it was given a day and a half to cross-examine Ventura, who is 8 months pregnant, and that she should be done by the end of the week. So he agrees with the prosecution. Combs' attorney, Mark Agnafilo, argued that Ventura should be able to come back Monday morning if needed. Okay, the judge shot back. In what universe did you not understand this was what was going to happen? Damn. You're not telling me this wasn't everyone's understanding that this witness was going to be done this week. Ventura was reviewing exhibits in a side room while the exchange took place. Cassie Ventura testified that during her relationship with Combs, she became jealous of his ex-girlfriend, Kim Porter. Ventura admitted to the jealousy after being asked by the defense attorney if Combs ever left a freak-off with her only to visit Porter afterward. Ventura agreed that she was upset about not having the chance to form a relationship with Combs' children, despite having a relationship with him for 7 years at that point. Ventura also acknowledged that it could be heartbreaking seeing Porter with the children and that she wanted to be a part of the Combs family, not just his sexual fantasy. Just picture that, because he has all these kids and you're not allowed to engage or get to know them. So what does that make you feel like? And again, for those that like to sit here and judge Cassie, some of y'all are in similar situations. It's just not a high profile individual. Some of y'all have never even met some of these people's friends, best friends, family, mother, whatever it may be. And we're talking 7 years in and Cassie hasn't been able to connect with them. Wow. Ventura said of Porter, "I had some jealousy." Cassie Ventura says that things got a little scary when Combs found out that she was cheating on him. She also admitted to being upset when she found out that Combs was spending time with a woman named Gina in 2014. Ventura said the infidelity prompted arguments. Cassie admits to keeping a burner phone while she was dating rapper Kid Cudi, to keeping the relationship private and away from Combs. And I believe that relationship with Kid Cudi only lasted like a month. "I thought it would be way too dangerous if he found out," she said. As she was dating Cudi, Ventura said that she continued to have freak-offs with Combs because to her, it was a job. Can you imagine where your head is in regards to that? Even though she was dating Kid Cudi, but she was still doing this with Sean or for Sean. When Combs found out about Cudi while going through her phone during one of the freak-offs, Ventura said that Combs attacked her. Cassie says that Combs kicked her in the back at his house after finding out that she was cheating on him with rapper Kid Cudi in 2011. When asked by Combs' attorney if her relationship with Cuddy drove Mr. Combs crazy, Ventura replied, "To my knowledge, it wasn't good." She confirmed that Combs was especially offended by the affair with Cuddy because of his status within the music industry. She added that suspicions and grievances over infidelity came up repeatedly throughout their relationship. Mind you, Diddy's over here with how many different baby mamas literally during their relationship. Cassie Ventura told the jury that Combs suspected her of being in a relationship with actor Michael B. Jordan. So there are a lot of names that are being brought up during this trial. Okay. Asked what Combs' reaction was to the alleged relationship, Ventura said, "I wasn't there to see it." Ventura said that she couldn't remember if Combs tried to text her about him, but he did try to make contact. When I think about this, though, didn't Michael B. Jordan date Lori Harvey? And then didn't Sean Combs at one particular point have like this relationship with Lori Harvey? Was that in order to get a dig at Michael B. Jordan? Okay. I'm just connecting the dots and speculation. So she said he tried to make contact. Cassie described Combs' reaction to her taking illicit drugs without him as explosive. Ventura added that he told his drug dealers in LA to stop giving her drugs. Cassie Ventura testified that she sent text messages to Combs' chief of staff, KK, Christina Curran, about an incident in which he allegedly dangled someone over a balcony. So we've heard that infamous story for a very long time. People speculated that it was Wale. Wale has said that it wasn't him. Ventura acknowledging hearing about Combs supposedly dangling Brianna Bana Bogolan over a balcony after the fact, but still reached out to a person in Combs' inner circle. "I did text that. There were other crazy things that happened," Ventura told the court, adding she couldn't remember the name of the person she sent the text to. "I saw what I saw, so I don't know." So Combs once overdosed. So this was some, for lack of a better word, tea that came out in her testimony. So apparently Combs once overdosed on painkillers, and the drug dependence fueled some of the rapper's mood swings, she said. During this cross-examination by defense lawyer Anna Estavo, Ventura was asked if Combs ever overdosed and if she was ever addicted. Ventura answered yes to both. And when the defense asked if Combs' mood swings were tied to pills, Ventura affirmatively replied it was a part of it. Ventura confirmed to the court that there were never any drugs contained in the baby oil. Okay, so this was a question that I asked, I think in like day 2 or day 3. I can't at this particular point remember everything. So she's confirming that the baby oil did not have drugs. You remember that? That was one of the rumors. So Cassie confirmed to the court that there was never any drugs contained in the baby oil used during the freak-offs with Combs. Combs was accused in a lawsuit last year of spiking the lubricant with GHB, commonly referred to as the date grape drug. All right. And as I take a little bit of a break from this, I do want to remind you guys, for those that enjoy hot topics or reality TV recaps, the Kempire After Dark, the villain era, is coming to a city near you. First of all, Philly. I'm coming there on July 10th. Atlanta. I'm coming there on August 5th. I have another August date that I can't yet announce. And then I'm coming back to New York City on Friday, September 12th. Ticket information is available in the description. Tickets officially go on sale for Atlanta and Philly tomorrow. But ticket information will be available in the description. Get your tickets today. And if you can't come to any of those cities, or you just want to be a part of the New York City show, there are live stream tickets available for that show. More information, again, will be available in the description, along with subscribing to the Kempire podcast. Subscribe today. I'm posting the audio of these Diddy trial updates. Our live recaps and special episodes like our Club Kempire episodes are available exclusively on the Kempire podcast. And don't forget, on the weekends, I've been doing weekend updates that are exclusively only on the podcast. So subscribe today. More information on that and everything Kempire will be available in the description. Now let's get back to our Diddy trial update for day 4. Cassie confirms that there were no drugs in the baby oil. I'm glad that there's a lot of things that are being confirmed in this trial. Remember, we were speculating that she was paid $30 million. At one particular point, they said she was paid nearly $100 million for the settlement in her lawsuit. Apparently, no. Apparently, word on the street, they only wanted to pay her $10 million. And they ended up with $20 million. Okay? So now they're confirming that nothing was in the baby oil. That's just what the conspiracy theorists were just putting out there. Not even just conspiracy theorists. A lawsuit literally said it. Combs videotaped a essay on Ventura at a LA hotel, was preceded by his repeated requests for a freak-off that she expressed reservations about, the witness said. Ventura said that she wanted to devote her attention to the premiere of The Perfect Match, a romantic comedy that included herself, Terrence Jenkins, and Paula Patton. Despite her concerns about performing a freak-off during her promotional duties for the film, she agreed after he kept asking over and over again. Remember, some of these freak-offs, for those that might be wondering, like, why didn't she just do it? These freak-offs sometimes would end up being days on end. She said the longest one was 4 days. And this was part of the reason why she took these different things in order to just numb her pain. And yesterday we told you that she said because of the constantness of these freak-offs, she had UTIs, she had sores in her mouth. Like, she went through a lot. Cassie Ventura told the court that Combs expressed concern about getting caught in the Matrix, their code for getting too high during freak-offs. Ventura proposed a shorter freak-off session at the Intercontinental Hotel to avoid getting too high before her film premiere. A Matrix is like the high, and we would be getting too high for anything sexual to happen. There would be no performance, Ventura said during court. They continue, it says Cassie Ventura was asked by the defense if she took a bad batch of MDMA, which is ecstasy, at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles Hotel before Combs was caught on camera doing what he did to her in 2016. Ventura responded that she didn't recall exactly what she took or how the freak-off began at the hotel. That testimony brought an end to a grueling day of cross-examination that will continue Friday morning. So U.S. District Court Judge Aaron Subramanian is urging Combs' lawyers to wrap up their questions for the 8-month pregnant witness. We will try to narrow it down, defense lawyer Mark Agnifilo said. This is a critical witness, and I will come back in the morning and give you an estimate. It is an important witness and a very important case, is what he says to the judge. Well, look, he's got to push back. His job is to defend Diddy, and they want to be able to keep her up there because they probably have a whole lot of questions. They want to build a case against Cassie and to make her out to be this person that is not credible. And she is a key witness in their case. Some may say, a lot of legal experts have said, she is the reason that these federal charges were brought against him. So they want to discredit her. They discredit her. They pretty much wrap this case up. But we shall see. Again, the prosecution bringing Cassie out so early on could be practical, or it could be we have a lot more. And just when I thought I was done, let me come back, because not only will Aubrey O'Day be testifying allegedly, we don't know yet. They said that Dawn Richard is expected to be the next witness for the government. I remember I said that, I think it's in yesterday's video. They said Dawn Richard, a former member of the group Danity Kane, is expected to take the witness stand on Friday once lawyers finish questioning Ventura. I don't know if they will get to Dawn Richard. If they're trying to finish up with Cassie, I don't think that she will be testifying tomorrow, but definitely next week. So they said that Dawn Richard, a former member of the girl group Danity Kane, is expected to take the witness stand on Friday once lawyers finish questioning Ventura, prosecutor Maureen Comey said. Richard last year filed a lawsuit against Combs accusing him of groping, assaulting, and imprisoning her. Here's the thing. I said this yesterday that possibly that Dawn Richard could be testifying because, remember, she said in her own lawsuit witnessing Diddy punch Cassie in the stomach at a dinner. I'm not 100% completely surprised. Guys, as always, let's continue this conversation in the comment section. I want to know your thoughts and opinions on day 4 of the Diddy trial. Thanks so much for watching and for listening.
Here we go now.